Hey, you guys, welcome. So glad that you guys are here. Today, we're going to be talking about confidence because guess what? When you are confident, you are able to get the kinds of results that you want inside of your business. You're able to charge more for your services. You're able to get more people to say yes to tutoring with you. You get more people who are willing to do online and less people that are saying, oh, my kid doesn't learn online. When you have confidence, when you can speak in such a way that people are like, yes, I want to be able to work with her, it changes everything. Now, I know that when you guys were little, there was a time when you were confident, right? Children all start off with this confidence. It's what enables them to reach for that, reach a hand or put a, to be able to stand themselves up. It allows them to play and learn and grow. If you go to a playground, you are going to see this kind of confidence in action in 1,000 different ways. You'll be the kids that will be like, look at me. They'll be on like the monkey bars, all of that. But confidence isn't a constant thing. We're never entirely fully confident. So while we might find the courage to ask out, somebody, or we find the confidence, faltering when we think about marrying us after months of dating, it can be crazy. Or we're confident enough to do it well on the job interview, but then we lack that confidence to be able to ask for a raise, even though we've been at the job a while now and we know we deserve it. A lot of times, this is because something along the way has shaken our confidence, if not broken it outright. And today, we're going to be talking about, well, how do we get to the root of that and how do we fix that? So you guys are going to be able to learn how to give confidence a boost whenever it seems to be flailing. More importantly, you're going to learn how to build back your confidence when it's lost by asking yourself 6 key questions. And we're going to start by learning the essentials by asking, what is confidence? And talking about why is it essential? And then from there, we're going to be able to tackle the question of how we can lose our confidence. And then we will finally end with how do we reclaim it. Sound good? All right, so I want you guys to sit back, prepare yourself for a story because the main character is a more confident, happier you. That's right. So let's take a look at the essentials. Who are you when you're confident? Does this question kind of leave you a little flustered? To some, the idea might seem difficult. They'll answer immediately, I'm not confident. I may have trouble even remembering a time that they were confident. You might be bothered by the question, especially if you're not sure why confidence should matter at all. And if that is the case for you, perhaps it's time to kind of take a closer look at confidence itself. You might not have a clear understanding of just what is or why it's even important. So let's just take a look at what is confidence. So when you think of someone who is confident, what do you see? Maybe you see someone with a certain set of traits, including several, if not all of the items. So here's some from a list. They have an absolute set belief in themselves. They consider themselves capable of handling the situation that they're in. They expect success when they begin a new task. When they speak, they mean what they say. They hold themselves in a way that looks natural, but full of strength. They seem confident in their own skin. At the same time, they're not overbearing or cocky in their attitude. They take risks. They don't miss out on fresh opportunities. So in all of this, you're going to find one thing that links all these traits. This feeling of confidence comes from inside the individual, not outside. There is nothing in this world that can make you confident except you. So our definition then becomes kind of straightforward. Confidence is a belief that you hold inside of yourself. It tells you that you can handle whatever comes your way. In fact, this feeling is so strong, it translates into a sureness of yourself, even in new or challenging situations. And the critical thing to remember is this feeling doesn't come without merit. This has to be like a genuine assurance, born of a realistic understanding of what you're capable of. Confidence is strongest when it's built out of self-awareness and experience. And we're going to keep talking about this. But on the other hand, confidence also involves a delicate balance. So if you overestimate yourself, you can become cocky, right? Or arrogant. And if you're underestimating, then you become hesitant and unsure. So confused? You're not the only one. So let's put it this way. Confidence can be talked about as kind of owning the situation. Think about the person who walks into a room and has the attention of everyone there. Not because they're loud or brash, but because they look so totally in the moment. A confident person has this certain charismatic charm born of inner peace that comes from being content with who they are. If you're a confident person, there is no room for the awkward anxiety we too often exhibit when we feel out of our depth. The confident person is relaxed and sure of themselves, and everyone around them knows it. So how do they do it? First, they're in the moment. They're not worrying about something that happened 10 minutes ago, 10 hours ago, or 10 years ago. They also aren't fretting about the future. They're here right now. They're not worrying about you. Now, your opinions, they are worthy of respect. A confident person will take the time to listen to them, but they're not going to care overly much about whether you agree with them or not. They're comfortable in their beliefs. They're sure in their speech. And the last thing they're doing is stressing about whether they fit in or not. They're just there, doing their thing. They also do what they love. This means they dress in clothes that they find comfortable. They pursue opportunities designed to get them where they want to go. And they have a focus designed around their own goals and personal belief systems. A confident person does a lot more leading than following. And typically they aren't motivated by a lot of should. Confident people, they sound remarkable, don't they? But are they selfish? I mean, after all, a confident person is just out for themselves, right? Well, actually, they have some pretty solid reasons for being confident. So I want you to keep listening because you're going to find out why confidence is so crucial. So why is confidence, you guys, important? I want to know, type down in the chat why you think that confidence is important. In truth, confident people enjoy a lot of things in life that people who aren't confident don't. They're generally more relaxed. They experience less stress. They tend to be happier than everyone else. And maybe this isn't selfish so much as healthy. In fact, you might go so far as to say that this is the life that everyone is meant to have. So let's look at a few other positive traits that can come from being confident. 1, they're calm. So if you're plagued by anxiety or worry regularly, it might be because you're lacking confidence. All these negative emotions, they're based on one thing, fear. And confidence is the ultimate fear buster. Anxious about driving? The confident driver knows they are capable of handling the car under any condition and can manage even the unexpected when it comes up. Worried about finances? The confident person knows what's in their bank account, has a good sense of when and where they'll be paid next, and has a handle on their bills. It's no wonder the confident person is less stressed, right? They put themselves more in knowing they've accomplished things before, and they have a confident person tends to look forward to the next challenge and the next opportunity to do something interesting. They have a tendency to want to see over the next horizon and explore more just to find out where the boundaries are. The funny thing is, the more they push, the less likely they are to find those boundaries. This leads to exponential growth, which in turn leads to more confidence. It's an astounding cycle. They set bigger goals. To a confident person, there's not much satisfaction in doing what's easy. Okay, so they tend to set more grandiose goals just because they're confident that they can accomplish them. And these great big goals, they can be in anything from trying to do something big in their career all the way to reaching scary goals in their personal lives. The sky really is the limit. they make better decisions. So confident people are assured of what they do. So as a result, they don't waste a lot of time questioning themselves when it comes time to making decisions, because they don't make decisions until they're sure of their understanding of the situation. They're also more likely to hold back and think things through before making the decision in the first place. This means their decisions are usually better than those belonging to the average person. So think about this for a minute. If your choices tend to be right, then you'll start feeling more confident in your decision-making ability, leading to confidence in your next decision. Again, the cycle of confidence, it kind of feeds on itself and it keeps growing. Confident people get stuff done. So the confident person doesn't put off tasks because they know they can handle the steps required to complete them. They also have a better sense of how long it's going to take them to perform a task, meaning that they're also better at budgeting their time to get things done. All of this means stuff gets done when a confident person is on the job. And this kind of work ethic, it pays out in other ways as well. The confident person is the one everyone wants to hire because managers know that they can count on them to do what's needed. Parents know that you're going to be the one who's going to get results. Confident people know how to get what they want. So a confident person doesn't wait around to see if someone kind of offers them what they need. Being confident means they recognize they have value. And as a result, their needs are not only important, but completely valid. This gives them the ability to speak up and ask for things, whether it's a glass of water when thirsty or a raise from the boss when they recognize that they've advanced within their company to where it's merited. They also aren't afraid to keep asking when they know the cause is right. And they'll frequently take their confidence and channel it into activism when they see that a wrong needs to be righted. Confident people are just more interesting to everyone else. So everyone loves hanging around with a confident person. Why? Well, for one thing, they're more relaxing to be around. Confident people aren't full of pretense. They are what they are. So you're not wasting time playing games when you're trying to talk to them. In fact, they tend to draw people in with their natural charisma that comes from being confident. Confident people never lack for friends. In the world of romance, the confident person is the one who gets the dates and is more likely to be in a stable relationship than someone who isn't self-assured. Confident people are incredible. In fact, you're probably realizing this because you're recognizing more times when you were already confident. So what happened? Let's think about it. When did I lose it? You know, that feeling of confidence. When did it lose? Chances are you have some room for improvement. We all do. The funny thing is, we get so used to the way that we are, we tend not to notice just how bad things have gotten until we take a step back and seriously look at ourselves. It's like the analogy of the frog in the pot. So if you don't know the story, it goes like this. Someone wanted to cook a frog. Don't ask me why, just kind of go with it, okay? The frog was already in the pot, but the person had no lid to keep the frog in. So initially, the frog didn't mind the situation. The water was cool and relaxing, so he stayed where he was. The cook decided the way to keep the frog from hopping out was to heat the water gradually so that the frog got used to the hot temperature in degrees. And then over time, he kept heating the water until it becomes hotter and boiled. And, well, you can guess the ending of this, can't you? The point is, we tend to get used to uncomfortable things over time so much so they become normal to us. So while you might not be as confident as you once were, your lack of confidence somewhere along the line became the new normal. It's only in looking back and taking an honest assessment of where you are now before you can see what happens. So how do you know if you've lost your confidence? Well, as with anything, there are generally signs that something is wrong, which might lead you to a particular conclusion. The problem is a single symptom can mean more than one thing. So what you need to look at is the grouping of items as a whole. For example, having a stuffed up nose might mean that you have a cold or the flu or problems with allergies like me. It's the other symptoms like the presence of fever that tell the whole story. So look at this list and ask yourself honestly if you've been experiencing any of these traits. If you notice you're experiencing any of these regularly, then it's safe to assume that your confidence needs work. So the first one is you apologize a lot. When you start apologizing for things automatically, whether they're your fault or not, you're making an assumption you're in the wrong somehow, casting doubt on your own actions. The second one to look out for is you overreact to critics. So a confident person can accept criticism. When you obsess over what someone else has to say, you're showing you lack confidence in your abilities, especially in those areas where you're being criticized. 3, you pull away from social situations. So social gatherings can be a nightmare for the person lacking confidence. If you're staying home because you're afraid you won't fit in, you think no one will talk to you, or worry no one will like you, then you're having issues with confidence in this area. Next, you're defensive. We become defensive when we can't come up with good reasons to support our position. This means you're not confident in what you're saying or what you believe. The next one is you obsess about your problems. A focus on things that are going wrong, a victim mentality or constant worry about your problems, all show that you have no confidence that you can control, accept, or eventually change your situation. Next, you lack energy. It's tiring. When you're constantly stressed and worried, this is like a lethargic attitude toward the world around you, and it leads to a lot of time on the couch, watching TV, eating for energy, and sleeping a lot more than you intend. That's if you can even fall asleep. You don't sleep. So people who can't sleep generally have issues turning off their brain. And when you're not confident about your ability to handle whatever the present crises are, it's not unusual to keep replaying the situation in your head to the point where you can't sleep at all. You have frequent headaches. So headaches can come from several causes, but stress is probably the most common. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't talk to your doctor if you're frequently having severe headaches. If it's stress, generally you'll find the roots in faltering confidence levels somewhere. You're playing a role. So why is it that you feel like you just can't be yourself? If you're having to create a persona just to step into the world, if you're using a fake you to kind of impress people, this means that you're not feeling particularly confident about who you are. Another one is your self-talk is negative. So when confidence is low, it is easy to fall into the trap of being more hypercritical of yourself. So if you're calling yourself a failure, pointing out every flaw and weakness, and putting yourself down all the time, then you're not only suffering from weak confidence, you're kind of driving it down lower. You're hanging with the wrong crowd. There's no reason to stay with someone abusive, ever. So if you think that you're not worth the effort, if you think that this is who you deserve to be with, if you can't find the strength to leave, you need to realize that your confidence is at dangerous levels. Even toxic relationships that aren't abusive can be damaging, as they put you at risk of constant barrage of negative input, meaning that you're getting help in dropping your confidence levels even lower. Another one is you're stressed all of the time. So when you're not able to relax, it's normally because of fear of some consequence or action. Now, this might mean that you're not confident somewhere important. For example, always stressing about money. This means that you're not confident about your financial security. Your mood is kind of somber. Having trouble feeling happy when you're not confident about your life, in general, it's hard to see the good things around you, especially the happy things in your own life. You feel like a failure. So if you're still hooked into the feelings of having messed up in the wake of a failure, you might have taken a heavy blow to your confidence. And while it's normal to feel a bit off for a while after a disaster, at some point you need to move on. And more important, try again. If you're stuck in an unhappy stage without any forward progress, then you're not confident of your success or even your ability to succeed. You play things super safe. So when you're not confident of your ability to have a good outcome in a situation, it's not unusual to play things safe to a point where either you're not trying anything new at all, or if you are, you're involving minimal personal risk. Another one is you feel like you're one step from a disaster. The certainty that everything is about to blow up in your face comes from this lack of confidence in what you're doing and being able to predict outcomes and assuming the worst outcome, or in feeling that you're not capable of handling whatever is coming next. At its worst, this one manifests as panic attacks. You procrastinate. So if you're not confident in your ability to do the task before you, it's not uncommon to put it off and keep putting it off, and hopefully it will eventually just go away. Another one is you're not doing things. So a lack of confidence can keep you safe at home instead of living out your life. And this is because you might be afraid of disastrous outcome. You're not confident of how you deal with people or situations. You fall flat out, lack of confidence in your ability to have fun at all. You're not enjoying life. That's another one. In the end, a lack of confidence can end in a spiral of self-doubt and even hatred for the person that you've become. If you wake up dreading the day to come and feel like you're just marking time or slogging through, this is depression. And if this is true, it's not going to hurt to get some help to work through the things that are hurting your confidence. It's never a bad idea to talk to a friend or a counselor if you need to. So if this list has left any of you guys cringing, it's time to address the problems that are causing this drop in confidence in the first place. So just how did you get to this state? This answer actually might surprise you. Why do we lose confidence? There are a million reasons why we lose our confidence. I mean, the problem is there are a lot of triggers we've picked up over the years. And what we need to remember here is some of these things might cause you to lose confidence completely, while others, they don't seem to be bothered by it at all. For example, for some people, a critical comment can destroy a day, or in some cases, it might cause them to quit what they're doing entirely. And other people, a critical comment rolls right on off without leaving a mark. Now, neither reaction is wrong. It's just how we're wired. This list that follows includes prevalent confidence-blasting triggers, but they might not be necessarily your triggers. So you just need to start kind of paying attention to these things that bring you down. So make a list if it helps, and keep it handy as you kind of work through this last part with me here. So confidence blasting situations. The authority figure. If you've ever been told you're never going to be good enough, you know this one already. Maybe it's a parent, a teacher, or someone else in authority in your life. Living with this kind of constant barrage can put a block in your confidence, and it's going to take some serious work to kind of remove. Even worse, when your authority figures aren't on the same page. For example, if parents frequently fought about you, it's no wonder that you've got some conflicting messages going on, right? The impact on your confidence. You'll likely struggle with feelings of not being good enough. You also might have a healthy dose of fear in there regarding the feeling of not being able to hold on to love and relationships, or being a curse to others. The caregiver. The absent one. We have two kinds of caregivers. Not every authority figure is harsh or critical. This is why we're going to call the next set of figures the caregivers. These are the people who mean well, but either through being absent in your life or always preoccupied, have left you with that feeling that you're not worth living, or that you're not going to be good enough to be worthy of attention. And this is also where you might wind up being apologetic all the time. Also, you might not have confidence emotionally, so you don't know how to express or even define what you're feeling. And eventually, this can lead to that feeling like you don't need anyone at all. Next, we have that caregiver that is overly present. Some of us call those helicopter parents, right? By contrast, the caregiver who's smothering in their attention can cause a whole different set of problems. So confidence might be shaky because you've really never been given a chance to try new things or have been told that you're likely to fail or get hurt. And therefore, you get that feeling that you need to be protected from even yourself. And this is where it becomes difficult to take risks, or you stress about the world because you don't understand it fully. The next type is the bully. So maybe your parents or the authority figures in your life were supportive or not in a bullying situation. The experience can leave a mark. So you kind of might shy away from being yourself or being able to stand out in case this makes you a target. And eventually, you might even shy away from social situations because you're not confident about how to handle yourself should somebody bully you again. Even in the world where you were supported, you might find confidence in your own abilities to be eroded, and as you were unable to solve that problem for yourself. Academic issues. So when you struggle in school, if you were struggling in school as a child, it's not uncommon to lack confidence in anything regarding intellect as an adult. So this is especially difficult if the problems went undiagnosed, or you didn't have reliable support in finding strategies to kind of work with the issues that you faced. Another cause could be trauma. Anytime you go through something extreme, it's going to leave a mark. A violent accident, an assault or abuse, anything causing PTSD can leave your confidence in a mess through no fault of your own. The critical thing to remember here is that this kind of causation will take time to kind of work through. And the effects are also pervasive. Some create triggers particular to the event, like lacking the confidence to drive after a bad car accident, while others are broad, like the difficulty of sleeping after the traumatic event. The point here is to recognize the effects are also widespread, affecting confidence in everything from not trusting your own defense system to keeping yourself safe, or feeling like your judgment can't be trusted because you put yourself into a dangerous situation, whether this is true or not. Your belief system. So sometimes something as simple as your religion or another belief system can set up confidence to fail. For example, you start worrying whether you're good enough because your actions might be at odds with what you believe. And this can be tricky because you're frequently allowing the judgment of others to define what makes you a true devotee of whatever you believe. And the problem comes in especially when this trust is misplaced. For example, you might have accepted the practices of a particular religious institution since birth, but as an adult, you kind of come to realize that maybe your preferences are not in keeping with the beliefs of that religious body. Well, this can lead to some complicated feelings regarding how you see yourself. The next is the world, media, your social network, and even your peer group. They are all ready to cast judgment on how you act, work, and live, right? With so many mixed messages, it's not hard to imagine how your confidence can feel battered, especially when those messages might be opposed to you on a very visceral level. With so much against us, it's no wonder that we have problems with confidence, especially when it seems the problem is anything around you, from losing your job to burning last night's dinner. This is why it's so important to recognize where the issues are so that you can move on. And this is going to help you become even more successful with your online tutoring. Now, to those 6 questions, right? We're going to get to the reclamation here. We're going to reclaim our confidence because this is a lot. So where do you go from here, right? Well, let's do this. We are ready to now reclaim our confidence. From here, you're going to discover a system designed to help you regain that confidence. How? 6 steps in the form of 6 questions that you need to ask yourself if you're serious about rebuilding any kind of broken confidence. So let's do this. You ready to get started? All right. First one, who are you? How can you be confident if you don't even know what your core values or passion is? Are you the person who gives up, or are you the one who bounces back? Understanding all of these things starts by understanding yourself on several levels. Time for self-examination in these 6 areas. Moral compass. So what do you value? We're not talking about like material objects here, but rather like really principles that you live by. For example, keeping your word might be the most essential thing in the world to you. If that's the case, how do you feel when you don't follow through on a promise that you've made? How are your decisions impacted by this value? This is why it's so important to understand very clearly what you believe in. And this might include your own moral code, your religious beliefs, or the core values that your parents instilled in you, or a mixture of these feelings. Your passion. This is the second one. What excites you? What are your talents, your interests, or even the reasons that you get up every morning? If you're unclear about this, it's time to figure it out because you want to spend some time exploring this in the next question, which is your personality type. So who are you inside? Are you introverted or are you extroverted? Are you a control freak or are you more laid back? Planner or is spontaneity more your thing? Numerous tools can help you figure this out, starting with you can try the Myers-Briggs type indicator, personality inventory, and you can find this free test online. Just type in Briar-Miggs. Your biorhythms. Are you a morning person or night owl? Knowing when you're at your absolute best is integral to understanding yourself. We are all most alert at certain times of the day, and nothing in the world can change that. So when you are the most energized, when are you the most energized? When do you get your best work done? And your strengths. What areas do you excel in? Are you more left-brained? Are you more right-brained in your thinking? Are you logical and number-oriented, or are creativity and the arts more your thing? Make a list of all the areas where you feel that you're at your best. Your goals. What are your goals? What is it that you really want to do in life? You can't fix your confidence if you don't know where you're going. Like everything, list everything that you would like to accomplish. And this is more than a bucket list. This is your mission statement in life. Once you experience self-actualization, no one will ever be able to put you down again, not even you. Any criticism is easily shrugged aside. After all, you know who you are. There's not a critic in the world who can define you anymore. When you understand your hopes and dreams, your talents and abilities, and just what you're capable of, no one can ever take that from you. So, what do you want? Confident people know exactly what they want in multiple areas of their life. We've already touched a little bit on that last question, but now you're going to use that information to kind of dig a little bit deeper. So grab a mission statement and all the list of things that you want to do someday and see how they stack up when you follow these steps toward clarity. So what is my most selfish desire is the next question. So strip away all your responsibilities for a minute. No kids, no spouse, job, nothing. You've got a blank slate and you have the freedom to do whatever you want. What is it that you would do? Consider your regrets. We all have things that we regret. Oddly enough, it's usually the things that we didn't do, which seem to matter more. Does that selfish desire feel quite so selfish when put this way? Probably not. What do you need to do to avoid creating future regrets? Consider the nitpicky stuff. So what gets underneath your skin? And this step You're going to figure out what really is creating those unhappy feelings in your life. But be warned, there are no easy answers here. You can't just say, my job, and think it's a good enough answer. What is it about your job you dislike? What is it that's bothering you the most? In this answer are the clues to the kind of thing you really don't want to do and the glimmer of what you do want. So where is your happiness? What is it that puts your instant smile on your face? If you're unsure, think over those absolute best times in your life. What is the common denominator here? And resolve to do more of that thing. Knowing what you want out of life gives confidence to every action. And this is where you find not just your path, but the surety of every decision as you start to work toward the things in life that carry the most importance. And here are your goals for solidified confidence in your direction. What were your past successes? So starting to get a glimmer of confidence. Now start thinking about those times that things went well. Have you won awards or accolades? What compliments stayed with you? Anytime you experience success, you're going to feel stronger and more confident. So let's stick around and see what we can find. Where did you win? This one's easy. Chances are you already have a mental list of times everything came together. Starting a list of these kinds of successes will give you something tangible to look back on and enjoy. So try keeping a journal of your successes. What did you learn? This one can be a little bit harder. Not everything you did resulted in this resounding success, right? On the other hand, sometimes the journey was more worthwhile than the actual destination. What knowledge did you gain along the way? Include everything here from degrees and certifications, right on down to the time that you learned sign language or learned to play the guitar. Knowledge is a powerful reminder that you're capable of many things. So, who did you meet along the way? You gotta love mentors, right? Close friends, and anyone who made a serious difference in your life. Somewhere in your life journey, you've probably had several people who guided you on some new path or gave you the support that made all the difference. This is another kind of success. This is a reminder of the fact that you mattered once upon a time. And you do now in the life of something amazing. So what does that say about you? What risks did you take at this? At some point, you tried something amazing. Whether it worked out or not, again, this is part of you who was daring enough to try. Remind yourself of these things as well as confidence builders reminding you of your courage. What promises did you keep? Some promises are very easy to keep. Others, agreements can be difficult. Isn't this a victory as well? And a mark of confidence in your ability to follow through hugely? The answers to this question are where you should have seen someone to be proud of. Take this knowledge and add it to your arsenal of confidence. Who do you care about? Reflect on the important people in your life. This is going to help you in several different ways. It's going to aid in reminding you that you aren't alone. It motivates you to want to accomplish more for the ones that you love. But the most important thing, it is a list of people who will remind you just how great you are. So let's look at a few people who matter the most in your life. Family. So this isn't always a given. So when you have a great family, be thankful that you do. For those of you who haven't come from terrific families, it's time to recognize the family that you do have. Chances are you've already created one, pulling together the absolute closest of your friends that you've got to create a new sort of family unit. And these are the people who have always got your back, no question. Next, friends. These are the people that you can call on in a crisis, the ones that you want to share every tidbit of good news with, and the ones who will hold you or even cry with you when you're sad. You've got marvelous people in your corner, and they need to be listed right along with the rest. Now think about your mentors and your role models. So mentors and role models, they can be such a complicated subject. Some mentors you know and talk to, some role models you'll never meet at all. Mentors can be anything from coworkers to people who have traveled the same path as you, who are guiding you now that you're going where you're going. They're the ones who advise and inspire. They have answers and they frequently support you when you need it, which is why they're so important. And if you don't have any, then you need them. And here are some things that you can consider when looking for a role model or a mentor. Look for someone who has been exactly where you are now, and make sure they're further beyond where you are now. Also, look for someone who inspires you. Even if they're not doing the same things you are, if you find yourself connecting to their story, then definitely put them on the list. Look for someone you want to become, more like in some way. These are the ones that you want to emulate. Don't be thrown off if your role model has passed away. You can still learn from them by researching their lives and reading their work. The people that you care about give you more confidence just by being there in your life in whatever capacity. Everything that you learn from them becomes a part of you. So how do you talk to yourself? This is the next one we're going to be exploring. When is the last time that you honestly assessed your self-talk? If you're constantly negative with yourself, how can you possibly build confidence, right? So let's examine some ways to change the way that we say things. Here's a quick checkup guide to get you through your self-talk. Listen. What are you saying to yourself? Are you being positive or negative in what you're saying? If it helps, write down notes throughout the day on what you're hearing yourself say. And look at it before bed. Were you mostly positive or were you mostly negative? And then rethink what you're saying. So if things are sounding pretty negative, it's time to challenge these thoughts as they occur. Ask yourself if any of what you're saying is true. It might be there's an element of fact to what you're saying, but you're saying it constructively. For example, if you're telling yourself, I'm always late, you might find it true you're late, but you aren't late all the time. If you have any doubts about what you're saying, ask yourself if you'd talk to your best friend this way. If the answer is no, it's time for a change. Shift the conversation. Now I want you to think about how you can rephrase a statement to make it more positive. So it helps to make sure that you have this list from before, which has all those positive traits about yourself. So instead of saying you're always late, try, I'm late today, but I was helping a friend, so it's okay. I will be on time the next time I go out. When you start positively using self-talk regularly, you are going to find your confidence growing just because you're giving yourself constant affirmation, leading to a more positive outlook. So what's next? Well, you're almost there. Now you just need one more thing. You won't feel confident until you know what you are going to do next. So set a few short-term goals. Maybe they include a couple of easy goals that you can hit fast and build confidence momentum with, right? The idea here is that you come up with a plan. Maybe it's get one online tutoring student. You've probably heard this before, but to create goals, you need them to be SMART goals, right? This means that your goals should be specific. So start with a goal that you can state clearly and no more than, a sentence or two. Measurable. The result must be something that you can measure. For example, wanting to lose weight is too nebulous, right? A better goal would be to lose 10 pounds because then you can measure when you actually get there. Accountable. This must be your goal alone. You must be the one to hold yourself accountable. If you make someone else to make it, if you need someone else to make it work, it's never going to happen. And then it has to be realistic. So this goal has to be something within your reach. For example, while winning the lottery is a nice goal, it's not realistic, right? And then it has to be time-based. So you need a time frame to accomplish it. So from there, you need to look at your goals, determine which are long-term ones, big goals, and which are short-term ones. And frequently, these smaller goals are going to be steps on the way to reaching your bigger goals. And the more goals that you end up meeting, the more confident you begin. That's a lot of information about reaching goals. There's a lot of it out there as well. The important thing is to keep clear on your vision and your goal in your head, and then to use that as your vision where you want to go. Having goals clearly builds confidence just by having them. When you set a goal, you're telling yourself you're capable of accomplishing great things. And you're counting on yourself to get it done. And the best part, every time you reach one of those small goals, you're going to give yourself a good-sized boost in confidence. Now imagine how reaching one of those big goals will be. All right, you guys, we're going to wrap this all on up with a few final thoughts. So the 6 questions are powerful things to consider. Sure, there's a lot of work here that's involved in putting it all together, but your future self is going to thank you for it. Feel free to watch this over and over again because you're going to see your confidence grow. You're going to discover amazing things about yourself that you never even knew were possible. So let's reclaim that confidence, you guys. Now, over the next month, over the next week, I'm going to be taking on 10 new students, 10 new tutors that are struggling with being able to reframe some of their thoughts so that they can get more success in their business. If you are interested in being one of those 10 people, directly message me inside of Facebook, Joanne Kaminski, and I will touch base with you and give you the link. I'm going to add the link into the notes afterwards. So if you're watching this after we've done the live, you'll be able to access that link right on inside of there and be able to see how you can become a member of this small group that I'm going to be working with. You'll have the ability to work through some of these difficult questions inside of your own time over 30 days. After that 30 days, you actually meet with me specifically and one-on-one, not with other people. And we kind of go through each of the different sections so that we can reframe your thoughts and you can have those big aha moments and you can begin taking your life back, increasing your confidence and getting the results that you want. Thanks for joining me today, you guys. My name is Joanne Kaminski, and I will see you next week.